Thank you for that question. I see somebody else on the call that I have not said hi to. Hello, Emmanuel. Emmanuel Sage. How are you doing? Thank you for joining our webinar today. You can unmute and introduce yourself and just say something while we wait for other people to join the webinar. Samuel, can you hear me? I'm actually waiting for you to turn on your camera, by the way. If you could reach out to
Hi,
Evelyn.
hello, can you
Okay,
hear me?
yes, I can. Could you reach out to Evelyn to understand why she's not on the call? And I'm waiting for you to turn on
Okay.
your camera. Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
you
you.
can see me now.
Yeah, I can see you. All right, it's good to have both people turn on their cameras. Doing great. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. It's good to have you in the room. Um, who else has joined? Esther has joined. I think this Dr. Ademi Sola's EA. Hi Esther, welcome to today's webinar. We are waiting for more people to join, so rest assured. All right, Dr. Ademi Sola is here now. We are about 10 in the room. All right. Okay, I think we can actually get started. We're about 10 just now, but somebody left, so we can kickstart today's conversation. Um, it's the business of learning, and we're talking about understanding the economics of running an education business. And we have with us Dr. Ademisola Adio Adepoju, the CEO and founder of iTrain Africa. Join us today. We'll be having a conversation, and you in the audience, you're going to listen and ask your questions because we love to hear questions beyond the ones that we prepared ourselves from our audience. So I would get started with explaining why this webinar was, um, why we are doing this in the first place. And I'm just going to go through what I prepared, right, to set the pace for today's conversation. So the World Economic Forum projects about 44% of workers' core skills will change by 2027, which is next year. And this is because of technological disruption. This means that the skills that people rely on today may not be enough for tomorrow. Now, if we bring that closer to home, according to the United Nations, Africans' working age population will reach nearly 330 million people by 2050. That's less than 25 years from now, right? So, what we see is that there are two realities. Skills are changing rapidly, but our youth population is also growing rapidly, right? And if Africa is going to compete globally, we cannot rely on outdated learning systems. This is both the curriculum and both the skills that are actually being taught. We must build education systems that evolve at the speed of the labor markets, and systems that are flexible, practical, and industrial lines are the kind of systems that we must build. And this is where education businesses become very critical. Now, the government is making efforts through the three entity program. I believe a lot of us know about the three entity program, right? And there are initiatives that that have been started by government or governmental institutions to train millions of people over the next few years. But the truth is that the demand is far greater than any single institution can meet, and we need more education businesses, and not just education businesses, but education businesses that are sustainable. And Why do we even say sustainable education businesses? I'm going to explain very soon. Because many education businesses shut down not because they lack passion or expertise, but because they lack systems that simplify their operations and support scale, or they lack sustainable pricing models that allow them to grow without burning out. So two problems. And that's what we're addressing in today's meeting, in today's webinar, right? So we are asking core questions like, how do you consistently attract learners? How do you increase enrollment in a predictable way? How do you scale beyond running just one cohort? How do you remain financially sustainable? And you know, doing all of that, how do you still maintain strong learning outcomes? So that's why we are here today. And so this conversation is not just going to be about content. We want to talk about things that are sustainable. We want to talk about systems. We want to talk about the economics of running a business. And we have Dr. Adirisola already in. She's already in the audience, and we're going to be asking her questions that had helped her scale her education business when she started, so that we can learn from it as education business owners. All right, I've been talking for a few minutes now, about 10 minutes. I would be welcoming Samuel. Samuel is the Chief Experience Officer at VarsityScape. You could just drop a message, Samuel, if you can hear me. Samuel is going to walk us through a demo of VarsityScape. This webinar, as you know, is sponsored by VarsityScape, and he's going to tell you more about what VarsityScape is and how it can be beneficial for you as an education business owner. Samuel, you have the mic. So Samuel is not here. Interesting. Sorry, let me just quickly understand while Samuel is not on the call. I see some people are registering, so I'm about to approve them so they can join the meeting. Um, I'll just quickly stall for Samuel to join. Okay, I think we can shift the demo to after I have had the conversation with Dr. Adirin Sola. Okay, Samuel has joined. Samuel, please let me know if you can hear me. All right, I'll just go ahead. Dr. Adirin Sola, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Grace.
All right. It's been great to see your face. So if you can turn on your camera as well. All right. It's good to have you here with us this afternoon.
Thank
Um,
you.
we are going through 8 questions today. 8 questions that actually help you tell your story properly, as well as educate our audience on what it means to run an education business. So I will start with the very first question because we're going to be going back in time to understand what it meant for you starting iTrain Africa. So you're the co-founder of iTrain Africa, and I want to understand what was the story behind it. when you were launching your first program, how did you attract your first few enrollments? And at what point did you realize that this could grow into something sustainable rather than just an idea?
Okay, thank you very much for having me first, Grace, and wonderful work you're doing at VarsityScape, by the way, your
Thank
platform and all
you.
that. So yeah, I trained in Africa. A quick backstory started from a personal pain point because I was then a brilliant PhD student who was out of Africa and doing a part of our PhD in RGU, Aberdeen, UK. And I realized that even if I was great in the lab, which means my technical skills, I had no proper grasp of how do I explain this now? The things that could help me succeed in the outside of that technical lab. So it meant that after I finished doing my work, I had to take it out. Then do things like, let me say, analysis of the data, presentation of the data. So things like analysis, I could not even navigate Excel like the way I was supposed to be able to do that, to even just do basic data entry and analysis, not to talk of then converting it into like eye-catching templates. And I would see or presentations, and I would see my other people from advanced world. They would maybe have 5 samples that they've analyzed. But by the time they bring it out and analyze the data, do everything they are supposed to do, it looks like they did a lot. But here I was out of Nigeria working on something really great. My PhD program was on contamination in gold mining, artisanal gold mining regions of this. It was a global thing. Everybody was talking about it. I had the samples, I had first-hand experience, but guess what? I could not shine because of fundamental workplace skills. And I was like, no, this can't be happening. Africans are brilliant, but there is a gap between the education we're offering in the schooling system and what the workforce was supposed to have. So I came back and I told my then HOD that we need to build something. We need to build something that can bridge this gap. We can't just be churning out 600,000 graduates every year in Nigeria, and half of them won't get job because the statistics is out there. 1 in 2 Nigerian graduates are not employable, right? Or don't have a job, not because they are no job, but because they're not employable, right? So I wanted to do that. I knew I wanted to do that because I'm that kind of a person that I hate complaining about problems. I like to fix it, right? And that was how the concept of me starting something that could bridge the gap between schooling and the workforce started. And funny enough, I think I told you a bit about this story before and how I came back to Nigeria because I realized that I could not change the curriculum because, again, my HOD said, Darren, you cannot just change academic curriculum at university, a federal university. You are just a single PhD student. That's what I started to look at. There's a flaw. There is a flaw. How do you find a problem and you cannot solve it because it's an institution that doesn't change easily? So I told myself, okay, what can you people do for me? They said they can do me like a webinar, and they were magnanimous enough to like help me organize a webinar. I talked to Spina yesterday, but that was a one-off, right? And one-off was not going to solve the problem I was trying to solve. And I just started to think like I needed to do this on my own. That was how the concept of Icon Africa started. I needed to do it on my own. I needed to provide education that was beyond the conventional industrial age kind of chemistry, biology, and all those things. And I discussed it with a couple of my friends, and they were also passionate about it too. We were all in the academy, we were all on our PhD program, and we decided to start something together, like as a social enterprise, and we named it. And guess what? Despite I've been a business owner, I've been in business since 2010. I've been running a fashion business since 2010. So I had business experience and all that stuff. Despite I'd been in business for several years, I then realized that even if there are some things you could transport from a sector in sense of experience, it is not everything. And that was the first failure I recorded in my like I record that enterprise failed because I'd gone to start an enterprise that I did not realize that instead of you to just gather, like when you're forming partnerships in business, you don't just gather people that you have great ideas together. You must have complementary skill sets because at the end of the day, an idea is great, oh. Wanting to solve a problem is great, oh. But there's a science to it. There's a science to business, right? Somebody like you must complement one another in business. So if me, I have maybe marketing, I'm a very forward-facing person, I would naturally default to being a CEO. So somebody that is very grounded, they are very detailed, would default to being a COO. But guess what? It wasn't going to work because we didn't think about all that in the partnership. We just went to let's partner, let's create something, and boom. Like that business started in 2019 of January, and by August it had collapsed, or rather the partnership had collapsed. But thank God we remain friends, right? But why did I have to mention that? is the fact that business is something that you could have a great idea, right? The everything, it might be the next best thing since sliced bread. But if you're not thinking about the science of the business, it is going to fail before it's even arrived. So that was how I started iTrust. So that one collapsed, but for me, it was I told my then partner, I said it was a do or die affair, and they thought I was joking about it. I said, I am going to solve this problem for us. Like when I say for us, for Africa. So I went ahead to do it alone, meaning I now started again. So the idea was there, the concept note was there, but the name had to change. So I went back to the drawing board. I was developing an entire concept, like an entire document for a business that had no name. So, but one day the name clicked. Oh, I train Africa, and boom, that's how I decided I tried Africa in 2020 as a social enterprise. The operational word social enterprise, meaning social in impact and enterprise in business. One cannot exist without one because broke does not fund broke. Impact does not fund itself.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pause there and let you go ahead, Grace.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Aderisola. It's very inspiring to hear your story. And I think what was interesting about what you said is the fact that you actually had business experience because you had created a business before, but that did not stop your initial try from failing, right? And that just goes into the importance of actually thinking about things carefully when creating an education business, right? You may have done it somewhere before, but the systems actually change when it comes to education. So, great insights there already. Very, very great insights. I am going to like piggyback on this first question and quickly go into the conversation around pricing.
Hmm.
So, during the second try, I want to understand how did you decide what to charge at that point, and how confident were you that people would pay for the program that you were launching, and how was your thinking? How has your thinking about pricing evolved as your organization has grown so far? How has it changed since starting iTrain Africa and this very point?
Okay, so by the way, I found because I knew that I had a gap when I was going to start again, which was how do I then distribute my knowledge? Because it is one thing to you have knowledge in your head, it is another thing to be able to distribute it. So and I'd become exposed enough to know that mentorship was key. So I went online to start to find someone who they used to call Queen of Online Courses, Stephanie Obi, who then had a course called CLD, Course Launch Delivered. And she teaches you the entire process around creating digital products like online courses. So from setting up the landing pages to monetizing it to choosing the right topic to determining price and things like that. She taught
Wow,
me the process of creating digital products. And she's someone that also constantly advocates for you have to price your value. You are very, I come with value, my experience, price your value. And why am I saying this? So you understand. And I remember we were having a discussion around what I wanted to teach. And she had looked at different topics that we could teach. And she was like, oh, these global opportunities is not out there. You could teach global opportunities. I was like, but I want to serve the youth. I really want to serve the youth. This one, that one. We were like, youth don't have money. And if they cannot pay you money, the business is going to collapse. And I was like, oh no, right? Oh no. You were like, Jerry, you have to first let the business serve the people that can give you the money, then you can then use that money to fund the people that cannot afford it. Like, and I was just like, nah, impact. So yeah, I always say something. If you're in the business of education, you came here because of impact. Let's start from there. And that is why most education founders fail, because you came for the impact, forgetting that money has to fund the impact. In fact, you'll be doing a disservice to your business if you try not to charge the business what. Because at the end of the day, for instance, I train Africa, we want to reach 10 million people by 2030. It means that the infrastructure that will support me doing, let's say, 1,000 people, let's say, for instance, now, email marketing. Email marketing for MailChimp at 2,000 less subscribers is free. So it means that I can afford to, if I'm trying to play small, I can afford to do free here and there because most of these softwares that will power me in the ed tech is probably free. But right now, I have like 80,000 subscriber lists. Guess what? I have to pay hugely for that
dollars.
infrastructure. Exactly. So it meant that for me, the fact that I set the goal of I wanted to reach 10 million by 2030, helped me to think sustainably. In fact, one of the core pillars of I Train Africa is sustainability, meaning that I do not adopt an idea that is not scalable. It's a pillar for us at I Train Africa. So, for instance, if I'm saying, oh, we want to be doing breakout rooms for one of our programs now, and I say, oh, breakout rooms, let's say Zoom can do it, and Zoom, let's say the maximum distance, maybe 1,000 people. The next question I ask myself is, if I was to have 10,000 students at the same time in a cohort, will I still be able to run this model? If the answer is no, I don't adopt that idea. Do you understand me? So
Yeah.
for me, it meant that I thought about the long term of, if this thing had to scale, how much will it cost me? So in me choosing the price the first time, I said, okay, let's do 150,000. This was in 2020, 150,000, because I thought about all those things. I needed to put the factor. But guess what?
Yeah.
I did not build the community. And I cannot forget, I still have that shirt. I should have worn that shirt today. I printed these round neck tees from tight money. That was personal fund and everything. And I put June 20, that our course was launched in June. So from January to March of 2020, I used it to go through the 3 months course by Steph B. I learned, kudos to her. So from April, we launched on April 4 during COVID. It was such a great thing for me. I knew what I wanted to teach. I was ready. Do you understand? And I launched the first program. I gathered a few. I thought it was about just few leads. I gathered a few leads, maybe 300 leads and less than 100 of them, maybe 30 of them. I did not know the mathematics of, or rather, I've recently only learned it, but I've not seen it play out. You would think if
Yeah.
you just gather people, they will show up, not knowing that even if 300 register, 10% show up rate is just like 30 people, something like that. And only about 30 people showed up. And in the mathematics of online programs, if 30 people show up, you cannot have a sale, because the average conversion rate is 1% of this thing. And if they are really, really nice, it's about 3%. So 3% of 30 people is not even a human being. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And I had used 6 months of my life to put energy and do all that, and nobody paid us money. Hmm. And I remember by the time it was June 27, because it was a 10 days launch, June 20 to June 20, 30, I knew nobody was going to pay me. And I sat down and I cried. I'm like, what? You want to do this great thing for people, but I didn't realize two things. You cannot cost based on what you just think your value is. There's also the marketing determinants. Like, there's a determinant of what is in the person's pockets. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And how much of a commodity or necessity your product is. So I went back to the drawing board and said, where does my product fall on the Maslow's hierarchy? Meaning, is it on the fulfillment level? Is it on the ground level of this thing? Where does it fall? So I then had to go and do the mathematics of, my product has to fall in a place that, wherever it falls on that Maslow's thing, determines the pricing. And I always say this: if you are selling things like, let me say, basic, what's that thing at the basic level, which is a clothing, shelter, and everything like
Yeah.
that, it means you're in a like Bogboero market, meaning mass market, right? So you need
Yeah.
to determine the pricing based on the category you fall on that Maslow's hierarchy, this thing. Now, I didn't realize that some of my products were on the fulfillment level, meaning they are getting to, like, let me say, the fourth level of the Maslow's and everything like that. So it meant that I needed to then categorize, if people are on this level, how much disposable income do they have? And based on the disposable income they have, I then say, what is most important to them? For people that are on the ground level, what is most important to them is food and shelter, right? For people
Yeah.
that the fulfillment level is about career advancement. So your pricing is even determined by where your audience, at the bottom line is your audience, not just the value you carry. No matter how you say, I'm a premium, I'm a this thing, please, at the end of the day, you will not buy your own products. The
Yeah.
audience that buys your products and the value they place on it based on their income level has a lot to do with your pricing, number one. Number two, after you have done the audience, what your audience can, realistically, is either you upgrade the product to people that are on another level, or you remove features to meet people on another level of Maslow's. Something has to give. When you are done doing that, then you don't come and say, okay, what is the economics of this? Because no matter how you want to help people, there's a minimum, there's a cost of goods, there's CO. It was when I started business, this airtime business, I started doing LTV, cost of goods, this one, that EBITDA. You will know all the financial numbers without being an accountant, right?
Yeah.
And I then realized that no matter what you do, there's a cost of good. So when I have said this is the people I want to serve, I then sit down and realistically determine what is the cost of good. Meaning, what does it and what is it mean by cost of good? For instance, in the educational business, you have marketing, you will pay money for private digital marketing or activations or campaign and everything like that. Whatever that money is, you will pay money for subscriptions. You are powered by AWS, you are powered by Canva, all the subscriptions that goes into that thing, you pay for it. All the things that basically goes into the production, you are hosting it on seller, you are paying. Everything that goes into the production and distribution of that thing, calculate it. When you now calculate it, you will now calculate it like this total amount is what it costs me. So, what is the minimum amount I can charge to even break even? So for each of our products, for instance, now I like for our product, I know our cost of good. Like I know my minimum money that no matter the oh, I want to help somebody, the subsidy I want to charge, this is my cost of good. I cannot go below it. So all that mathematics, and the good thing right now is you can determine that even on ChatGPT. You don't have to know the maths. Do you understand? You can just go to ChatGPT and say cost of good. How much is my cost of good? How much is my customer lifetime value? How much? You just need to do, small things here and there. In fact, even if you don't know the numbers to ask ChatGPT right now, you can just say, I want to run a business. I want to start a business. I'm wondering which metrics are the right metrics for me to monitor in when I'm onto this thing so that I don't run at a loss. ChatGPT will give you all the values you need. So I'm just going to pause there. So two things: the audience, where they fall on the Maslow's hierarchy, and number two, how much. And please, another mistake I've seen people make in education is they don't factor everything into their cost of good. Let me give you a perfect example. AWS gave us this thing, the
Right.
credits, right? I'm using the credit to do email marketing, to do hosting, and a couple of things. The fact that they dashed me that credit does not mean that it is not part of my marketing costs or it's not part of my infrastructure costs. People will think because they have something for free. For instance, you are using your house. You say you are working after all, I'm using my house, you don't have an office, but you don't factor in the rent of your house. It is a cost of good, right? People don't calculate everything that goes into that product. So by the time they now start to scale and they need to now go and get a space, they realize they've been underpricing, right? So whether you are getting that thing for free or you are doing this thing, please make sure you put everything on a Google sheet. Put it like this: my house rent, if I was going to be going to this thing, how much will I be paying for that co-working space? This one that they dash me for free, how much will I be paying? Calculate everything, divide it by the number of unit and everything, and do your mathematics. When you arrive at that value, then you are in business. Please don't go and do business that it is when we first, it's a good thing right now. When we first started, when we used to advertise like ebooks and everything, people will legit come into your comment section like, you people are greedy, you are very greedy, God gave you knowledge for free. You're not selling it and everything like that. I used to laugh because I'm like, only if you see behind my scene. Do you know how much I pay in dollars for infrastructure? You have no idea. Like, the knowledge is truly, and in fact, let's even now assume I was not paying for infrastructure. Did I build myself up to this level without investing in my own education and upskilling? Do you
True.
understand? So I'm just going to pause here and let's have other conversations and maybe look at what other people are saying in the comment section. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. This is very interesting. I like how you started from the first try, which actually failed. People did not register for the course, and that prompted you to now go back to the system to check. Somebody muted. Okay, yeah, that prompted you to go back to now look at each system. So first, you consider the people that I'm selling to, can they actually pay for the product? Where does it even fall in their hierarchy of needs? And then you looked at the little numbers that actually contribute to the cost on your end to now determine the pricing. I can hear somebody. I can hear
There's
somebody.
somebody in your studio that is speaking. Someone in your studio is speaking. Someone is unmuted in the studio.
Okay, let me mute him now.
So that one is a new person. It's a new
Interesting.
device.
Okay, it's muted now. All right, so I was just trying to recap on what everything you said, but I can hear a lot of intentional thinking and planning in what you have said, right? And maybe that's the singular skill that a lot of education businesses miss. They don't go back to the drawing board to ask themselves, why did this fail? Why is it that I only had 5 people register for the course, even though 300 people showed interest? And I think that's very important. So my next question is going to build on this what you have just answered. But before I go ahead, I would want to start prompting the audience to ask their questions on the group. Start in the chat rather. Start asking your questions, and we'll be able to answer them as we are asking Dr. Adirisola these questions. Thank you. So the third question, right? Beyond pricing, we have talked about pricing. We have talked about the way you thought about it. I want you to tell us about enrollment. So, what strategies helped you consistently attract learners in the early days? Right after that first, I don't think you had an enrollment problem, but would want to know how you have handled enrollment so far, right? And what shifts did you have to make as you scaled to maintain steady growth? So, what has enrollment been like for you? What strategies has helped you consistently attract learners in the early days? And what shift did you have to make to maintain steady growth?
Okay, so I'm going to say this. In the early days, because people have always asked you questions like, for instance, I've been to 5 continents, maybe 80% of it is on somebody else's money from winning global opportunities. People have always been interested in that, in saying, are you doing it? I've taught it for free before I started teaching it for a paid amount, right? So because people did not have access to that knowledge in your head, like generally before, in the early days, when you put it out, a lot of people that have admired you from afar, right, will jump into the early cohort. I remember the very first cohort we had in March of 2020. I think I had about 36 enrollments in that quarter of March 2021. And it was 36,000 naira. And it was comprised of people that probably know me from Wales, something like that, like that, like that. And I was really excited because my very first launch had failed, remember. So when I had 36 in this one, I was like, this is looking good. We are, getting there. We are beginning to have people to pay me money for the knowledge I bring to the table. And it meant that and I needed to start thinking about, okay, now that we are making money, we then I have to start thinking about the cohort system. Do I do this evergreen? Evergreen means that can they just come and buy? So I tried different models, right? As society wants to start to scale, and I realized that okay, if I don't have a start and stop launch time, like close time, because we are in the African market, right? And Africans always respond to when something is closing, when there's a deadline. No matter how you market value to an African, if they do not know that there is a time limit to that thing, they are not going to take action, right? So it meant that I needed to understand my markets as I started to scale. So beyond people just liking you and taking your course, maybe in the first cohort, the real mathematics starts when it is now you want to sell to strangers, like people that don't know you before. You now start to think, how do you reach these strangers? So as I started to scale, it became a game of mathematics. How do I mean? The mathematics in scaling means that if, for instance, in the first launch that you did, it took like leads, and I would break it down because I don't assume that everybody understands that thing. When you say something is a lead, someone that is interested in what you are offering. Meaning, for instance, if you are selling fish and bolly or something, and I'm passing on the road and I'm looking at what you are like, I'm looking at you as you are roasting and you're like that. I can say, Auntie, you won't buy, you are a lead, meaning you have shown interest in my products, right? So think about it like that. So it meant that where do I find people that will at least show an element of interest in my product? And who shows interest in your product? It is somebody that has a problem that your product can solve. Finish. Your product is a solution. When I say your product is a solution, for instance, you will not see me go to the hospital or a dental clinic if my teeth was not aching me. Do you understand? So it is
Yeah.
when you have a problem, you find a solution to it. People that come to our academy to say, oh, they want to learn about remote work, international global work, it is because they have a problem of not understanding how to do it and they wish to have it. So they have a problem. And me, because of my experience in that space, I can give them that solution. Do you understand? So it means that for somebody to even be a lead, they must have that problem in one way or form, or somebody they know has that problem. So it meant that I need to start asking questions of how much will it cost me to get somebody that is interested in my products as society to scale? who does not know me before, but who has a similar problem to the people that have taken my course, that my course or my program can solve for them. And there is something I learned in Unleash Global Innovation Lab in Singapore. If you can find one person that will use that product, there are millions of that kind of person outside. It's called a customer persona. So it means that the very first set of people that bought my product, I needed to go back to the drawing board, sit down, study them. Where do they live? And hey, trust me, probably I have design thinking expertise. Design thinking is a methodology for solving really hard problems. Is used in innovation labs, all the Silicon Valley and everything. So I learned it in Singapore. So I know how to do customer profiling. I sat down for everybody that registered in my first cohort. I sat down and understudied their life. Like when I say understudy, like I will pick one person like this. Let's say this is you, Grace. I'll go to your Facebook profile. What do you do? How old are you? What school did you go to? I did everything. Where do you live? Your geography. Like I will write everything. Like real humans. So I'll now say, okay, this one, if this is what this person that bought my product does, let me go and find 1,000 of that kind of persons. And those are the economics that went into scaling. And of course, with that, for me to find them, I am operating a remote first educational program, meaning my programs are online. It simply means that I will not be going from door to door and be doing, hello, do you like my products? It means that I needed to find them online. And for me to find them online, there are only two ways technically. I pay somebody money to advertise, or I use somebody else's platform to be doing organic. Choose your hustle. But you must give something. For the digital advertising, you must give a lot of money. For the one that has to do with you just posting and people liking you, you have to give a lot of your time and self. But you cannot say, I don't have time and you also don't have money. Something has to give. Marketing has costs. The cost might be your time, it might be money, but there must be resources allocated to reaching more people. Because I said something when I was starting this conversation, it is a game of numbers. So if I get 1,000 people to be interested in my educational product, the market, there's statistics that say only 1% of them will convert. Now, 1% of 100 people is one person. That means 1% of 1,000 people is 10 persons. Meaning that the mathematics you first need to understand is what is the standard conversion rate. And before you say, my own will be better, more than 10 people will buy from my own 1,000. Don't deceive yourself, right? Like it is what it is. That's why you call, do your research. What is the typical conversion rate in your industry or in whatever it is you are doing? How many people does it take for you to talk to for a number of people to buy? That is what you call like your cost of this thing. Like how many leads do you need to talk to for one person to buy? So when you know that number, and you can know that number by, in fact, let's assume, because people say, how do I know that number? If you sell via your WhatsApp DM, let's say you do something, say, send me a WhatsApp DM. And every day you count how many people chatted you on WhatsApp. 10 people. How many of those 10 people bought one? That means you have a 10% conversion rate. But let's say 20 people chatted you and one person buy. That means you have a 5% conversion rate. You can count it yourself manually, right? So when you look at the statistics, the history, and apart from you looking at the history of you also need to look at the platform. Because for instance, if I'm selling via a website, my sales page, if I write something on it, I don't have to talk to a human being. Meaning that I will have lower conversion rate because you are in Africa. If you are in UK or other parts of the world, you have a higher conversion rate. Why? People don't like to talk to people in the UK. In fact, I remember when I was in the UK, if I'm coming out of my roommate will run back inside our room because they don't want to talk to you. So they shop on the website. So they have higher conversion rates, right?
Okay.
But in Africa, people want to talk to a human being to make purchasing decision, right? So you have lower conversion rate on the website. But I say you have to choose the platform where you will find them, and you have to determine what the conversion rate of that platform is. So whenever I am trying to say what is the mathematics of us scaling, I say what platform do we want to sell this product? When we choose the platform of selling it, please, if you plan on scaling, if you have big mouth like me, if you plan to reach 10 million people like me, you cannot choose WhatsApp as your conversion this thing. Like it doesn't matter. Like WhatsApp allows you to have 5 people on WhatsApp. So how does 5 people chat 100 people, 1,000 people per day for you to get that 1% convert? Do you understand? So for us, we need was websites that could have thousands of visitors in a day. let the sales page convert. So typically in the industry, if you have a very good sales page, it is a 3% conversion. So it means that if I spend money to get 100 people to visit my website, only 3 people will buy. Now, when you know that mathematics, you will now ask yourself, how much does it cost to get 100 people to visit my website? If it costs you 30,000 naira or 50,000 naira or 100,000, whatever it costs you, if it costs you 10,000 naira for 100 people to visit your website, right? And only 3 people will buy, what is your cost of product? Remember what I said about cost of good. If your product, your educational product that you are selling is 10,000 naira, that means for every 100 people that visit, only 3 people can buy. It simply means that do 3 people of 10,000 naira product, that is 30,000. So it means that from 10,000 that you spend on 100 people visiting that website, you are making 30,000. So it simply means that for you, if you want to make more money, you can only do two things as you scale. It is either you increase the traffic that visits that website, or you increase the conversion. Meaning, you don't want a 3% conversion, you want a 10% conversion. Then your sales gain has to up. Like whatever it is you write on that landing page must be convincing enough to get you to 10%. And if you're using DM, whatever it is your salespeople say to them in the DM must be convincing enough to get to 10%. Remember, as you scale, the economics of traction is highly dependent on leads. No leads, no sales, because there's an economics to it. The number of leads you have determine the number of sales based on conversion rate. So that is the unit economics you have to consider for enrollments and this thing. So whenever we know that, oh, we want to register 100 people in the academy, so it means if you have a 1% conversion rate, so it simply means that if I have to get 100 enrollments, I need to get 10,000 leads. That's what it means. Do you understand? If it is 1% conversion I have, if I want 100 enrollments, I need 10,000 leads. If I want 1,000 enrollments, I need 100,000 leads. So it means I need to get marketing money that will give to Meta or to whatever advertising platform to get me
Yeah.
100,000 leads. And that is what determines the number of enrollments we have. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. It's very interesting. I personally am learning a lot, right? Talk about the customer profile, how you
Mm-hmm,
went through everybody that actually paid, to pick out
mm-hmm,
the things that sort of identifies them as that person that is
mm-hmm,
suitable for your product.
mm-hmm,
And then you talked about doing a
mm-hmm,
lot of research, researching the number.
mm-hmm,
Okay, how many people actually convert? Am I just the one that's not that's failing, or this is just the industry standard? Then you talked about
mm-hmm,
marketing, and you said marketing
mm-hmm,
would either be two things. It requires two things: your time and the cost, the money that you put into it. And you shared
mm-hmm,
industry data, conversion rate about 3%. And two things that I'm taking out of
mm-hmm,
this is for you to get that number of students into the class, into the program, you need to either increase your traffic or increase your conversion. Also,
yeah.
um, I hope we are learning as much as I'm learning myself. I can see that people have dropped questions in the chat. So I'm just going to pick one question from the chat before I continue. Um, I think for Adam's question, you have answered it already. How do you determine the right price point for your
Mm-hmm,
services to ensure that they are accessible
mm-hmm,
to African youth while still being a profitable business?
mm-hmm,
I think you answered that already with this question.
mm-hmm,
So I
mm-hmm,
would take
mm-hmm,
Emmanuel's question. Does giving
mm-hmm.
discounts or accepting instrumental payment shows desperation or underselling one's knowledge? So this is very related to pricing that we just talked about. So it'd be good for you to answer this question.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. Okay, so I would say this. It doesn't show desperation. It is just a question of what is your policy in your organization, and you determine that as a founder. For instance, internally at iTrain Africa, we don't do discounts. Do you understand? It's just a policy for us, and not just because it's a policy, not because it is not an ego thing. Do we do subsidies? Yes, they are different. Discounts means that you are running sales like, oh, between this March, we are running Valentine sales. We don't do things like that, right? But let's say there is a course we connect to. Let me say, for instance, now International Women's Month is coming. And we've had a lot of maybe people in our community to say, I'm struggling with this. Maybe a lot of women. I can say, oh, in the month of March, in alignment with International Women's Month and Day, for this month, we are going to do this initiative for this month. We are going to subsidize the program by 10%, 20%, 30% for this. It is a subsidy. So it means you know that I'm not running a sale. Do you know, I'm not running a discount sale. I'm doing impactful work by, and sometimes it is not even the money we are reducing. We can now say, okay, you pay the full money. If you are able to finish the course, I will give you the best performing person can get a laptop to start up work. Because for me, the idea behind it is to empower that woman because of the International Women's Month. So the kind of things we do at iTrain Africa to support you, to support women, or people that are disadvantaged are always things that has to do with, we think about their overall holistically and not say, okay, just let's give them discounts. Discount is not, as far as I'm concerned, from my point of view of my 16 years of running businesses, discount is not a strategy that you want to employ all the time in educational business, or else brand perception starts to fade. People start to look at you a certain way, right? And when you erode your brand perception, it is very hard to build it back. Now, another thing you then said, instrumental payments. Do we accept instrumental payment? Yes. Why? Because again, if you are in the advanced part of the world, you can say, oh no, I do a one-time payment. But here, people actually live from hand to mouth. So we do accept international because you must think about your markets in business, right? I have a mini MBA from International Finance Corporation, member of the World Bank Group. I have a certification in entrepreneurship and innovation from RGU. But my local sense is understanding that my market is unique. So I had people in the early days that would say, Doc, let me be Eje Madrajo, meaning like let me be doing thrifts with you. I'll be giving you 10,000. When my money is complete, I'll take the course. Do you understand? Does it come with its risks? Yes, because is there they are hungry, they'll not say, please have my money. Can you give me back? I'm not taking course again. Do you understand? There is a risk with that. We see that all the time. Do you understand? Because there are some things now, this thing. But we also then have policies. So, as a business, you must sit down and draft policies. This is your refund policy. This is what, if you've accessed my course, even if it is only one lesson out of 300 lessons, you cannot get a refund because knowledge cannot be quantified. I might teach you just something in 5 minutes and you will use it to make millions. So, you cannot tell me that I've only accessed 5% of the course. Give me my, no, like, so you have to say, these are the policies for refund. For instance, if you come to us and say you are paying instrumentally and you want a refund, I say if you are coming for that refund after like 1 month, I have paid VAT to federal government. I've paid the whatever, but I will give you your money less of the charges I have incurred. So you just have to state it that if you are whatever it is you choose to do, in whether it is a discount, you have to have policies. And by the way, if you are Nigerian, there is nothing like I cannot refund. It is against the law. So you must also, in you bringing up policies, you must actually, look at what the law says. You cannot outrightly say I don't do refunds, but you can form your own internal laws to then say, should you be, as in, this is what makes you eligible for a refund or something. So discounts for me is personally, I just don't favor it for our business because of rather than do discounts, we do more value. Also note that, for instance, we're in the Mastercard Foundation EdTech Fellowship right now. It means that a body can come and subsidize it for a group of people. Which, for instance, for we are on that 1 year this thing where our 100,000 naira product is subsidized for 10,000 like kind of youth for 1 year, like till this thing. So it means that if a youth comes into our academy right now, a product that others are paying 100,000 naira for, that youth, meaning undergraduate, recent graduate, or less than 3 years of graduation, once they are able to show us the ID card that meets the criteria of that thing, they pay half the money. It means that somebody else is paying. So you will not ever see me come out and say it is a discount. I will tell you it is being subsidized by this organization that has interest in you. So at the day I come out and say this organization is no longer sponsoring you, there's no longer subsidy. Just think about it like when Nigerian government was subsidizing fuel. It was not a sale, it was not a discount, it was a subsidy. They woke up one day and said there's no more money to subsidy. They took it to the original price. Do you understand? So
Yeah.
people don't feel a certain way regarding that discounting. all the time. So instrumental payment, fantastic. Just build a system around it. Number two, discounts. You will have to decide if it is how you want to sell. If you don't want to sell by discount, it's possible, but then you need to build a brand. And how do you build a brand? It means your product has to work. First things first, it has to deliver on its promise so that you can then get testimonials from people. And those people can then talk about your products, and you can then use to build your perception, and people are willing to pay you money. Don't let your first strategy to getting money out of people be discounts.
All right, well answered. Thank you very much, Dr. Aderisola. That was one question from the audience. So let me just recap what you have said. For discounts, it's you have to decide, right? It's better you frame it as a subsidy instead of continuously doing discounts. And for installments, you need to set policies and systems in place that make sure that person actually pays you, right? You need to state it clearly that once you have paid the third installment or the second installment, you cannot get your money back. And those policies that will just make sure that you don't fold as a business. So I would be going to the next question that I have. If I go back to the Q and A's, I see there are three questions in Q and A's. I will get back to them after taking this question. If we have more questions, we can always drop it in the Q and A. So Dr. Aderinsola, from your experience, why do many education businesses struggle to remain profitable even when they have strong programs? That's the course content is very strong, it's fantastic. They have short videos, they have curated content from like professionals. Why do they struggle to remain profitable? And how do you personally think about the economics of running cohorts, managing costs, maintaining margins, and increasing the lifetime value of each learner?
So you are breaking in between, but the question I hear you is
Oh,
why is it that they still struggle to make money, right?
yes.
Hello, Grace. Okay, great. So why do many educational businesses struggle to make money? I think the very first reason would be they did not actually calculate their break even point. Break even means what is the minimum number of persons that needs to be enrolled in your academy or in your school or in your whatever for you to cover the overhead cost of that business. When you do that mathematics, you wake up with a different attitude every day. I know how much my OPEX is. OPEX is your operational costs, expenses, right? If you know, let's say in a month, you have a staff strength of, let's say 10 people, whatever, just name your number. Or let's say in a month, your staff strength is 10 million naira to pay salaries, staff strength. And there are different things that consumes your money in your this thing. By the way, you need to do that number. You have to do your OPEX. You have to know how much is your operational cost, right? So when you know how much your operational cost is, it helps you to know that this month, oh, I cannot make less than this amount to stay afloat in this business. And please let me also warn, depending on your educational this, I don't want to assume that we are all online educational this thing. Let's think about it. People that run schools, physical schools, you are collecting money only like once in 3 months. Do you understand? So it means that if you are a school, a physical school, and you are supposed to enroll 100 students, and 100 students are paying you 100,000 each. It means that at the beginning of the term, you are collecting 10 million, even if all of them don't pay you 10 million. But you know that roughly 10 million is how much your school can make in 3 months from school fees or tuition. So if you know that 10 million is all your school can make in 3 months, it should signal something to you. It means that your operational costs cannot exceed, for you to even break even, no, I'm not talking about profitability, cannot exceed 3 million naira in a month. Because 3 million naira in 3 months is already 10 million, like literally 10 million. Do you understand? For you to even break even, like, so it now means that if you know that 3 million is what it costs you to maintain that business in a month, and your entire expected revenue from the number of enrollments you are currently having is 10 million, that means you as a founder of that school need to start doing, I need this minimum number of students to become profitable. When you don't do your mathematics from the beginning, it is either you are overstaffing, you are overspending on things that are not necessary, or you are not marketing enough. So in terms of when you say why is it difficult for them to be profitable, fill their cohorts and everything, it is because you have not done the maths. You have not done the maths. And by the way, there are some operational expense that you enroll, no? You don't enroll people, no? You would incur it. For instance, you have paid rent for 1 year. You have paid Amazon Web Services for once in 1 year. You have paid hosting if you're an online school. There are some things. You have employed staff that you must pay salary. You are in a building, you must pay lights. Do you understand? Power. So there are some, when I say OPEX, meaning that you will pay that money, right? So, and whether you paid it annually or monthly, calculate your annual into monthly. So, when you know that this is the amount of money, it helps you do two things to maximize your workforce. Because you now know whether your workforce is just there. So they can be calling you founder that has 10 people, or your workforce is actually producing what they're supposed to produce. Because that is another challenge I see. People actually founders in the educational say that probably you win grants, you get investors. Once they get investor, I see people who go and start getting office space that is in Lekki. They employ all the employables. I want a digital marketing expert. I want this thing. And I'm just laughing. And I'm like, so these people now, how much is their output? Like, and the simplest way to do the mathematics of that is anybody that you employ that cannot give you 5 times of the money you are paying them, you are not maximizing it. Meaning, if you are paying somebody 200,000 naira, they must be able to deliver 1 million naira work. Because out of that 1 million naira, marketing will take probably 40% of it. Do you understand? So and you must know your profit margin. So I think a lot of people struggle because they don't know money. There's my friend who say money mathematics or business mathematics, meaning you don't know the mathematics of your business. That is all. You don't know the mathematics. So people will just say, I want to make 1 billion or I want to make 100 million. And I'll say, okay, can you break down for me how you make this 100 million? They say, I will enroll students. I say, okay, how many students do you need to enroll to make 100 million? They don't know. So you start to struggle because you don't even know what you are chasing. So if, for instance, now you ask me, you wake me up and say, how much do you want to make next month? Every month, I set a revenue goal. I say, let's say you ask me, I say, oh, let's say I say I want to make 20 million next month. Now, let's say that is my goal. The next thing is the next question, and you can pick any of my team. I've trained my team members to know that mathematics. So if I say I want to make 20, let's even say 10 million, I want to make 10 million next month. The next thing my sales team will ask me is, what product are we selling to make 10 million? You know why they are asking me? Because the price of that product will determine the number of enrollments we need. So I don't set enrollment goals. I set money goals. I set revenue goals. Do you understand? Why do I set revenue goals? So that I know. Because I can easily set revenue goals because I know what my OPEX is. Let's say my OPEX is 5 million. So it means I know that for me to make profits of 5 million, I need to make 10 million. So when I know I need to make 10 million based on my whatever my OPEX is, then I would then go and break down the products that can deliver me 10 million. So if you see my educational sheet, when we're doing sales, I say, okay, in the month of January, I want to sell WFS 10. I want to sell this RMW or whatever products. I give allocations to each of those products. Then we create marketing strategies to meet each of those allocations. You don't do that, whatever revenue you are saying you want to make, you are just joking. You are just joking because you need to determine how much money you want in terms. And when I say how much money, you must determine how much money you want in terms of revenue and in terms of profits, because revenue is vanity. If you like, say you want to make 10 million naira, if your entire OPEX is 10 million, you did not even profit. Do you understand me? So I'm
Yeah.
just going to pause there and let's move on.
All right, thank you very much. You need to start with the revenue and profit goal in mind, right, to be able to stay sustainable as a business. There are a lot of questions in the Q&A, and I still have questions myself, and it's already past 4, so I'm just going to be very quick now. Let me take one question from the Q&As. Okay. So I would take this one on testimonials. because I don't have any question like that. On testimonials, when would you advise an organization to best collect them, before or after the close of the program?
Um, we collect testimonials at every stage of the program.
Every stage.
And yes, testimonials differ. How do I mean? So there's learning outcomes of long term because we are in the business of education. And when you're in the business of education, no matter the testimonial you collect now, eh, it's not a proper, it's not an impact story. In education, sometimes it takes 1 year for your testimonial to be full. For instance, in I Train Africa, we are teaching people workplace skills, which means that workplace skill can help them get a job, promotions at work, better productivity, promote management board, and all those things. If I teach you this thing today, before you will improve, let's say it is productivity. Before your productivity improves at work, for somebody to even notice you and recommend you, it might take a 1 year cycle. So it means that if I say I want to collect testimonial when people like, so for us, testimonial is anything that has to do with from when the person entered and they could not do XYZ to when they can do it and they feel better about themselves to the point that they finally achieve their goal. And we have embedded testimonials into our system, like naturally. When I say into our system, there are points on our program that we intentionally ask for feedback during the program. For instance, at I Train Africa, we have live sessions. We have at week 3, they come live, they do breakout rooms, and during that breakout rooms they also come back to give like they do presentations. But before those we also ask them for feedback and say, how has the academy been, what are you doing, what could you not do 3 weeks ago that you can do now? And we are able to get those feedback. That's already testimonials, right? And at the end of the program, we also embedded systems to actually also get those testimonials. And we also do overtime, meaning we do a follow up at 6 months, at this thing like that. So please collect testimonials at every point you can because you are in the education business. And if you wait till the entire thing complete, you might wait 1 year.
All right, thank you very much. I would not comment on that because I think your answer was very clear. I'll just go straight to the next question. When we talk about learning outcomes, it often sounds abstract, but in reality, it directly affects sustainability. How do you ensure your learners complete programs, achieve meaningful outcomes like getting a job, starting a business, or earning a reputable certificate, and still allow the business to remain financially viable?
So when you say learning outcomes, a lot of people don't think about learning outcomes. But like you said, it actually impacts on the business. Let me give you a perfect example. Given my several years of experience in business, there is no marketing that beats word of mouth. I kid you not. There is no marketing invented alive that beats word of mouth. Because word of mouth is the most powerful marketing
We can't hear you anymore, Dr. Darin Sola. Can we hear her, or it's just me? Is it just my network? Can we just drop something in the chat to confirm if we can still hear Dr. Derisola? Okay, okay, all right. Esther, I think you're on the call. Could you kindly reach out to Dr. Derisola and let her know we cannot hear her properly? Network issues, network issues. Don't worry, she'll join shortly. Um, Let me try reaching out to her on WhatsApp as well. Okay, she's back in the room.
you hear me now. Hi, Grace.
Hi, I can hear you. I can hear you
Okay,
now.
great. I had to exit and come back in. A call came into my distance, so I had to negate it.
All right.
Okay, great. So I was speaking around word of mouth being the best marketing this thing. And how do I say that? Anybody that has used your products, your learning products, and they have gotten results, you see what they say. Like when you say learning outcome, if you are coming to my school or my academy or my whatever to take lessons, it means you have a problem and you want it solved, right? So the learning outcome I've designed into that thing must be that you can achieve that your goal, right? So that is learning outcome in layman's language, right? For people that own physical schools, learning outcome can be like, oh, when my child goes to school, let's say a nursery two child, they must be able to speak fluently without, whatever it is you promise those people. That is learning outcome. For me now, let's say my learning outcome is increased productivity at work, you can get a remote job, whatever. Whatever that learning outcome is, what will be the outcome after they take your products? Now, I always say it is the most important thing in sustainability of an educational business. Because when people achieve their goal, they tell another person tells another person. At the end of the day, your marketing efforts begins to decrease because you now have foot soldiers. You are now building, you are building like you are building marketers that you're not paying. So the sustainability of the educational, like you have no idea. There are some schools that have been so old that they don't market, but like physical schools, all these schools that their name has been in existence since forever, they don't market. Like you will see a school that they will say that school was in 1960 or this thing. People are rushing to carry their children there. Why? Their father graduated from there. Their sister graduated from there. They are not marketing, but they are why? Word of mouth. Word of mouth. So, as an educational business, in the first 5 years of business, struggle to build an experience that the learner becomes your foot soldier. And the only way a learner can become your foot soldier is when you deliver on two things: on the outcome you promised and the experience on how that outcome was accessed. Because some people have great products, it does what it says to do, but the experience of that customer while they were doing business with you, they can never tell somebody else. So when you say learning outcomes, please, another place I've seen people get it wrong is they have great products that delivers on what it says it will deliver, but they still struggle. Why? The experience. And it's so unfortunate that for some of us, we don't intentionally do it. But because we have employed untrained customer experience people in our business, we put someone that we want to pay 20K, 30K in the front desk of our business and say, she's just a receptionist. That receptionist can make or mar your business because they are the first point of contact with external people and they determine what people say about our entire business. So going to pause there and let's move on.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Derinsola. I actually like how you are just opposing a traditional school with an online school because, to be honest, the operations, the way they scale, they are not far apart, right? I
Mhm.
understand that a lot of online learning started like scaled up in 2020 during COVID, but they are
Mhm.
not really different, to be honest. And these strategies that you have talked about that worked in traditional schools can definitely work in online schools. Thank you very much for answering that question. So I would take one question from the audience again. So I'll just be interchanging it till we are done with all the questions. I see a question from Cynthia. There are many educational partners willing to support educational businesses. However, many only offer discounts or are interested in educational businesses with a certain number of learners. That's 100 to 250 people to train. How can we attract educational partners when we are starting out with a small number of learners? That's 1 to 30 people.
So I'm going to be honest with you. You would have to spend your own resources. There is some, probably because I teach global positioning, right? And I know how this works because I've been an assessor of some of those applications and things like that. So I've seen from the inside, I've seen from the outside as an applicant and as a reviewer. You cannot sell something to me that you don't have at least traction on. People don't invest in ideas. They invest in small results. Like, show me first that you can do this small thing by yourself. Then I can then help you scale it up. Nobody wants to pick you up from the ground floor. Trust me on that one. In the first year of I Train Africa, were we profitable? No. Was I using money from my personal life? Yes. Why is that? Because I understood that for me to be able to show people to come and say, come and put money, oh, right? I need to have shown that I can at least get them something when they put money. And that is why sometimes people are saying, I cannot win a grant. I said, but you don't have traction. Even if it is 3 months traction, you must show traction. You must show that this thing is viable. So I would say, instead of you at that 10, 20 learners trying to attract partners to start convincing them about your idea and why it is great, focus on delivering what you can with 10 to 20 learners. Focus on it. Do it so well that the outcomes you have from it, you carry that outcome and come and make mad noise on social media, especially LinkedIn, because that is where the decision makers are. And that is one of the things we teach at Icon Africa. Like, I would say, do what you can, deliver first, then you learn how to make noise on the thing you have delivered to attract bigger things. But to say you want to not do and start attracting people, the word attraction signifies something. It means that if you say I'm attracting people, it means that you carry value. You carry a certain amount of value that they want to be associated with. If you don't carry that, sorry, it is what it is. Nobody is going to want to associate with something that they don't consider that there's something there. So I would say focus on building the small one, get results from the small one, then you make noise about it.
All right. I think that's well answered. That's well answered. And I just quickly want to move to the next question because we have more questions in the chat. All right. That's Cynthia saying thank you. Um, we have more questions in the Q&A, and I have about two more questions to ask before we go into the demo. So, as your programs expanded, that's in iTrain Africa, operations must have become more complex. What systems and processes have helped you scale intentionally, maintain structure, and ensure learners stay engaged rather than falling by the wayside? So you're getting more learners now. Your dreams are coming
Mhm.
to pass. How do you?
Hmm.
What are those systems? What are those processes that you have seen work for you in iTrain Africa that you think other education businesses can adopt?
Hey, I would say pay for tools, oh, pay for tools, pay for tools, pay for automation. Pay for automation. That's the look. You cannot want to run a standard business on free tools. Let's be clear. Pay for tools. Let's say, for instance, now you are here, you are running an educational business. You want to be putting your learning on WhatsApp. You are seeing that VarsityScape has an LMS that you can use to host your course. You can use to, are you not liking how we are here right now? Do you understand? You are seeing that they have something that you can use to host your distance. So you look like a standard business owner. And it's not as if the thing is even expensive. Oh. Do you understand? You can look like a premium brand by hosting your courses, but you choose to say you want to do WhatsApp lesson. You will now record yourself, you now put it on WhatsApp. At the end of the day, they distribute your lessons, or you host it on YouTube. You now say somebody shared your link. You're just wasting your time. Pay for tools, pay for tools. I cannot overemphasize it. Look, what brought you here cannot take you there. As we are scaling, every day, today, as I finish this call, I am paying for two things, two subscriptions. One is for security of something, something, as in around the websites that we own. The other one is for monitoring the amount of there's a data tool. And by the way, I'm already paying, like, there is not as if my website has security. Oh. So the additional one I'm doing is because I've seen a lapse in this thing. My website has data monitoring. Oh. I use Google Analytics, for instance, on our website to monitor analytics. But guess what? Google Analytics is free and it's very good, by the way. But guess what? It cannot help me monitor my data. Grace, remember that thing that I said at the beginning, the very first cohort? I sat down and did customer persona one by one. Where did this person come from? But guess
Yeah.
what? That was because there were 36 people. Now that I have 500 people in a month. So I will sit down and start studying 500 people by myself. It's not possible.
Yeah.
So it means that I need to find a tool that does it. So currently, iTrain Africa uses Groundhog for its automation, for its marketing automation on our website. So it means that for everybody that buys from us, at the back end of my website, I see their customer journey, where they signed up from, the country, what they did after they entered my website. I can see everything without having to manually do it. But will it cost me money? Yes, I have paid hard earned $600 for that marketing automation tool, which is almost like 1 million naira. One tool. Oh. So somebody is looking at me from the outside and says she's running an educational business. I'm not running an educational business like him. I am running a technology-enabled educational business that is paying for different things, tools for different purposes to ensure that I can scale responsibly. Before I scale a human in my organization, I have scaled technology. So if I have a problem in my organization, I will say, is there a tool that can solve it? I don't think, is there a human being? Can I employ? No, 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 no. Is there a tool that can solve that problem? If I have now done and done and done, I have done tool and I realize that there is still a gap, then I find a human being. But what a tool can do, I do not use human being to substitute it. People look at IT Africa from outside, they say like, you must have a very large workforce. Nah, nah. Our workforce is not huge, but then we are serving learners in 36 countries. How are we doing that? It is with tools, automations, platforms, pay for the right things, right? So that you can scale your business responsibly. Like I think VarsityScape now, like you pay for their platform. They're not limiting you for learners. Oh. Like you pay per month. If you like have 1,000 enrollees in your academy, 10,000 enrollees, you're just paying per month. And they give you all the hosting of you're not paying for hosting, you're not paying for like you're just paying subscription. Like, see, I repeat it. If you see my subscriptions, like my annual subscriptions fee, you will pity me. But hello, I still pay for more because that is the only way I can scale this educational business. That is what I'm going to say. So, Grace, over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sola. Tools are the best way to go, and in case where a tool does not work, a human being will work. But as we know,
Mm-hmm.
there's AI, there's automation, and
Mm-hmm.
these tools are available. Some are paid, right? But that's the cost that you need to incur to scale properly as an education business.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I would like we just have two more questions, one from the audience and my final question. And I will be taking Okay, I will be taking the question on how can one best target their audience such that they see the program being offered as valuable? How do you target your audience in a way that they can see your program as valuable? Because you talked about the Maslow hierarchy of needs and how you should,
Mm-hmm.
understand your customer profile. Is this thing important to them? Am I solving a problem to them? Is my product a solution? Now the question is, how can you target them? You have identified the audience. How can you target them in a way that the program being offered is seen as valuable?
Now, I'm going to use two different approaches. I use a lot of digital marketing to target my audience, a lot of digital marketing. But guess what? Even digital marketing these days uses AI for targeting. There was a time when I first started to run adverts on Meta, that's Facebook, Instagram, that's Meta platform. You have to learn about what does your audience like, the interest of your audience, all that stuff, all that stuff. So when you're setting up your Meta ad, you choose this audience, they go to education, they go to university, all that stuff. But guess what? AI came 24 months ago and changed things. So even when you are setting up your ad right now, you are better off choosing advantage audience. Advantage audience simply means less AI choose audience for you. They'll go and find the kind of people. But here is one thing I realized. Even for advantage, I can use advantage audience and get sales. You know why? I have trained AI, meaning I have started to get results before AI. I have first done my customer persona analysis. Meaning, I sat down and this is who my customer is, this is what they do, this is where they eat, this is where they go. I needed to identify, which is why I said there are some things that human brain cannot be replaced. And I always say it. You look in Africa, one of the first things we taught on WFA, which is Workplace Fundamentals Program, is how to research. That skill is a skill that anybody that wants to succeed must default to. You have to sit down honestly and go and find out this solution I have built, who has the problem? When you realize who has the problem, you say, where do they converge? It is after you have realized where they converge that you can target. When you don't know who, you cannot know to where. When you don't know where, you cannot target. So the work comes back to you, the business owner. When you build this product, let me give an example, VarsityScape. They built an LMS, right? When they were building that LMS, they needed to have first sit down and say, who is my ideal audience? Is it somebody that does not even plan on starting a business or an education business? No, if they like, let them sell this platform for 1 naira. If the person does not have a course or a knowledge to dissipate, they won't need them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it
Yes.
means that no matter what they do, if they do not know that I need their products, no matter what they do, I will not buy. So when you say before you want to target your customer, you must first understand who they are, what they do, what their problem is. Which I say you must sit down and do the work. Even if you think you are selling commodity, let's say you think you are selling, let me see, wipes. These wipes I'm holding now. If I want to say this is a commodity, wipe is a commodity. But even at that, let's say I now carry these wipes now. I go to Ikoyi Golf Club that let's say is mostly men. So it means that in terms of are they the one grocery shopping for their baby? No. Do they have face thing that they want to clean, makeup after the day? No. Can you say how are first identified? The person that has problem that we need wipe is either somebody that has a baby that they want to use wipe to clean their bum, or somebody that is wearing makeup. Do you understand that they want to clean their face? Those are the regular users of wipes. So it means that imagine me now carrying wipes to a place that it is mostly, let's say, Agbero boys that are there. No matter, even if I dash them, they don't even carry it. So you must identify that what problem does my customer have that will make them need it. When you say this is the problem that this particular solution I'm building, these are the many things it can do. You now say, who now needs it? When you realize who needs it, now say, these people, where are they converged? These people, they always go to night club every Friday. Or these people, which is why you will see that when conventional schools, when they want to market, when a new term is approaching, you will now see them, they will now start to go to where? Neighborhoods or offices. Because why? Parents are working in offices. Now say, this our school is good, oh. They will start going, and they will not go to a place that is far. It's right for primary school. They will go to offices that are near their neighborhood. I say, let me bring my child to be in a school that is near me, my office. Do you understand? Because they know that if you must bring a child to their school, you are working in an office. You understand? So they now target the places that those kind of people will go. So your targeting problem is not a targeting problem. It is probably a shortfall in you doing research to identify who needs what you offer. That work is work you need to do internally. And good enough, AI can help you. Caveat: if you go to AI and tell AI who are my target audience, that is nonsense prompting. It will give you nonsense answer. AI is garbage in, garbage out. You don't give it an understanding of what you do, who you are, what you are trying to. You don't give it all that background. It cannot help you. It will give you nonsense answer. Do you understand? So it defaults back to you critically thinking about this thing I have built. What can it help people do? Then you find such people.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Adirin Sola. I think that question was well answered. I hope the person got their answer. So, before I ask my last question to bring this conversation, very insightful conversation, to an end, I want us to quickly do a demo of VarsityScape, the people organizing this program. And ah, someone's having serious network issues, serious network issues. So I would just, ask the last question while I wait for him to join the room. Samuel, can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Great. So before the
Sorry, I
last
had
question,
the internet issue.
no problem. For the last question, someone is quickly going to walk us through VarsityScape and how we have heard the different things that Dr. Ademisola said today. So you are going to see a platform. VarsityScape is a platform that provides all the tools that you need to run your education business. And someone is going to be walking us through VarsityScape right now in a few minutes before we take our last question for today. So Samuel, you have the mic.
Okay, thank you very much, Grace. Before I go on, I would like to say a very big thank you to Dr. Aderisola. I personally didn't even know I was going to learn this much from this webinar because I was part of the organizing team, and I wasn't really planning myself to learn this much, and I'm actually learning a lot. Thank you very much. As an individual expert in what I do, so I'm going to try to quickly share my screen. Please let me know if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you for that. So, VarsityScape is, the way we call it, the operating system for your academy. And so, if you've heard Dr. Sola talking about paying for tools that can help you sort of automate your system when you learn, when you teach people or is one of those tools that can make it very easy for walk through a couple of our features. One of the things that set us apart in the market, and what makes VarsityScape the best platform for you to run your academy and all. So first, VarsityScape, here you create an academy. You create an academy, and in that academy, it's just like a university. And in that academy, you can create multiple courses in your academy that students can come and enroll in and take and learn. And there are different we have two different types of courses that you can create. You can create a cohort-based course or a self-paced course. And if self-paced course is just a course where the person takes it themselves and you don't really have to follow through with them, or cohort-based where you're engaging with them and taking it through for a specific period of time, basically. And so on VarsityScape here, you can see, for example, if you have courses, you can see them here when you come here to courses, and you have your course catalog, and these are courses that are in a particular academy, and under courses is where you'd see uh, you'd see the courses that are in that academy that you have signed up to. This is viewing from a student's perspective. And when you go into the courses, basically for VarsityScape, you can see the modules and the course, the lessons and the course, and also from the admin's end to you'd be able to add your modules, you'd be able to add your lessons,
Samuel, we cannot see your
classmates you'd be
screen.
able to. Hello, can you did you lose me there? Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but we cannot see your screen.
See the
Okay.
screen
I
actually.
can see his screen now.
We can.
Okay.
I can see his screen.
How about now? Can you see my screen now?
All right, you can go ahead. I can't see it, but you can go ahead.
Uh,
I don't think it's
okay.
from him because we can see it.
Okay, Evelyn, you can see my screen.
Yes, yes.
Sorry, can you? Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I just switched. I switched the academies because, of course, as on VarsityScape, you can see that there are different show us. One of the couple of things I'm going to show us is our course builder. Please just let me know once you stop hearing me or once you stop, seeing my screen. So course builder here, I'm just going to open one of the courses for you to see. Shows you the total number of students that you have, the modules that you have, and under content you'd be able to create modules and lessons for your students to go through. Then one other thing that I want to also walk you through is live classes. Here is where you'd mostly use this when you're doing a cohort-based course with your students. So, for example, let's say I want to teach. So, I'm a product designer. I'm the chief experience officer here at VarsityScape, and I also do some graphic design on the side. And so, if I want to teach a couple of people graphic design now, I could create a cohort for the month of March, maybe from March 1 to the end of March, and throughout that cohort, I could have some lessons I want them to take on their own, and I could have some lessons I want to have a live session with them, maybe ask questions and also show some things in Photoshop, for example. And so on live classes here, you can schedule. So beforehand, I can already schedule the classes, for example, maybe once in a week, twice in a week, schedule all the classes I'm going to have throughout the month of March. And so you can see here, I can create the meeting now, or I can schedule the meeting. And you can see that we're currently using VarsityScape, which is the platform that you'd be using to have your live classes. And there are a couple of interesting things with our own, VarsityScape Meet platform. You can have, whiteboard. You can share resources, PDFs with your students in a different way from just sharing the screen here. Your students can literally interact with your resources while on the call with you. Not just that you're sharing your own screen, you're sharing your own PDF, but it's almost as though they have the PDF with themselves. With them, you can create a whiteboard that you can use to annotate and show things and all of that. And so that is that. So I can basically I want to talk about the community. So the community hub is for your courses. So it's mainly just so that you don't have to be running your academy on VarsityScape and also chatting with people on Telegram, Slack, or whatever, what have you that people use nowadays. So it's just like you have everything here on VarsityScape, and so you can have a community hub. This community hub is general to all your academies. It's just like a group chat for everybody in your university. And for every course you create to, you can also have community and you can have channels. So I could, for example, when I was giving the example of creating a cohort as a graphic designer, I could create, for example, a channel that would be for sharing resources and maybe links to platforms that we use to get ideas. I could create another channel for maybe discussing clients and all of that. And so you can create these different channels on your community hub. And so it's just like you want to do your business of learning, you want to teach a particular skill, you want to do something, you just pick up VarsityScape, and that's all you have to use. You enroll your students, they pay you through VarsityScape, you do your marketing campaign. We even have for example, we have a public site which is just like your landing page where you can put your testimonials, you can put your frequently asked questions and everything. And so it's just like you want to teach something, you use VarsityScape from beginning to the end. And if you want to also have us walk you through the platform, perhaps maybe you have something custom, maybe you're trying to create a cohort or something that has never been done before, something novel. So you can reach out to us also, and we would obviously have the discussion with you and we'll walk you through the platform and help you with anything you need. So that's a short walkthrough of VarsityScape. I would hand over back to Grace now.
All right. Thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you. Interesting enough, I didn't see your screen throughout. That's why I was very concerned. But I'm happy if every other person else saw your screen. So the last question, Dr. Aderinsola, we are back with the last question. I hope you're still with me.
Yes, I am.
All right, awesome. Um, the last question is, if you were starting iTrain Africa from scratch today with everything you know about growth, pricing, systems, and sustainability, what would you do differently?
Hmm. Interesting question. So what will I do differently? I'll probably have built my community quickly. And why do I say that? Community is such a thing right now. And even big brands, like brands of corporates, are now building communities around their products. Communities have become hearts of selling. It has become the heart of building any brand that would last these days. So gone are the days where you say, "Oh, I just want to do my business. I don't want to have that thing." Communities have become a thing that is integral for scale. It has become an integral part of sustainability. So I would have, because again, at I Train Africa, for instance, our pillar is ABC: awareness, blueprint, program, community. So for the longest time, you've done a lot of awareness. Our campaigns have reached nothing less than 36 million people across 53 countries. Um, we've done blueprint programs, signature curriculums. Took 3 years to build our workplace fundamental skills. I iterated it and all that. Blueprints, we have great blueprint programs. But we left community for a long time. So if I was to start again, I wouldn't have thought about it in a sequential order. I would have probably merged my community with awareness. I would have built community as I was building awareness. Because at the end of the day, I would have been able to leverage on that community right now, which again, I think it also has to do with a lot around the personal traits of a founder. I'm a communal person, but I'm not an online communal person. I don't know how to explain that. I like to be with people. I like, I'm a typical African. I can live in family house kind of stuff. But I am not very communal when it comes to like online community kind of stuff. So, which is what would I have done differently? I mean, like the moment I identified my own deficiency, I should have complemented it by getting somebody whose default was community building. So that is what I would have done differently. I would have started to build my community. If you look at people that are succeeding really well right now in any sector at all, they built community early. And that is why when you see people like, let me say, Dario of a Niger girl, who is Dang,
Yeah.
she didn't have a product first. She didn't have a product first. She built a community. So when she launched a product, it was a no-brainer. It scaled quickly. So yeah, that is what I would have done differently.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Sola. I don't know if we can react, but we can, begin to write our words of appreciation to Dr. Sola. I personally have learned a lot. In fact, I'm very tempted to propose to Dr. Sola to come and create a course just just on how people can run education businesses, because this is something that a lot of people don't know, not in the way that you have explained it today. And I think it's very important that more people hear this thing, not just in Nigeria but in other African countries, because the ultimate problem we're trying to solve is not just a Nigerian problem, it's an African problem, right? So
Mhm.
thank you very much, Dr. Adirin Sola. I can see more questions in the Q&A, but unfortunately we cannot take them. For the question that is directed to VarsityScape, Evelyn will come shortly to give us access to a consultation link that we can book to ask our question, and would wrap up the session. So Evelyn, I can see people already leaving. You can quickly just do that right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an amazing conversation that we are having. And it's well done for putting this together, because we are all in this ecosystem where we want people to be able to if education must scale, there needs to be more players. There needs to be more players who can scale. That is how I think about it. If
Yeah.
education must scale, there needs to be more players who can actually scale that thing. So it means that for us, it's important that we are helping people that are just starting off to think about their unit economics. I keep saying impact does not fund itself. So you have to be able to say, if I have to do good, and I think there should also be a mindset change where people are thinking about like, me charging this money is not me being greedy. It's not me being wicked. It's not me not still rendering impacts. Impact is where you are able to reach more people with the good news of what you have brought. right? So when you have that mindset that I need to be able to charge this fee so that I can actually impact a larger number of people, then maybe you are more open to actually charging your worth for things, right? The same, and trust me, another thing I always say is the same product that somebody will not pay you 5,000 naira for, somebody else will pay you 500,000, which is why please refer back to what I said at the beginning, the Maslow's this thing. Identify who has the income, create products for them, and your CSR or whatever can then be funded from at least that initial this thing. Don't make a mistake of staying stuck on a product that nobody is going to pay for, no matter how passionate about you are about that product. If nobody is going to pay for it, it means nobody will use it. And if nobody uses it, impact cannot happen. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aderinsola. I had almost forgotten about the wrap up part, but thank you for doing that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Grace.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Dr. Derisola, for such an amazing, amazing webinar. Like I've learned so much, and it's just makes sense to realize that building an online academy or building an education business is not really just a thought that you have and then you just go create a website or you just start an Instagram page. It takes strategy and it takes a lot of knowledge, right? And it is through webinars like this, through people who have the actual experience, who have gone through the process, that we can actually learn and then begin to take steps towards it. So before we end the webinar officially, wanted to talk about a next step that you can take as an academy owner, as somebody who is passionate about starting an education business, or even if you already have an education business, you want to grow it, you want to scale it, you want to have more learners, you want to really let people hear about the things you are passionate about, the things that you have experience about. We are opening a limited number of consultation calls. For those of us specifically who are on this call, it's going to be free. And we just want to work with you, partner with you, right? So at VarsityScape, we love to partner with education businesses, with academies, with learning communities, right? To audit your academic model, for example. We can help you to identify the revenue gaps, talk about your pricing, talk about your courses, talk about your curriculum, talk about the different ways you can structure your online courses, structure your cohorts in a way that is going to be sustainable for your business. We are going to map out together with you a growth strategy to realize how you can get more learners without burning out, to make sure that you are functioning to your maximum capacity in every way, right? I also want to show you how you can integrate VarsityScape into your academic processes to make sure that everything is smooth sailing. So this is for you if you're an academy owner, if you're someone who is considering starting an online academy, if you're a course creator, if you're a content creator thinking of starting a new course, if you're a community educator, if you are a part of an institution, right, and you're thinking of starting an online academy by the side, this is going to be for you. And it is we really want to work with you, and we believe that this could be the beginning of you really sharing your impact with the world. So the question is, are you ready? Are you ready to build your business of learning? Are you ready to maximize your skill, right? Because the ecosystem is moving fast. We know AI is here. Learners are confused. There's a lot of information everywhere. But if you really have the tools and you have the strategy with you, you can really be impactful in this space. So thank you very much for spending the past few let me say 1 hour 30 minutes to us together with us here. Thank you, Grace. Thank you, Dr. Derisola. We are really grateful, and we believe that for everyone here, you are building something impactful, you are building something important, and we really look forward to working with you. So see you on the consultation call. Grace is going to drop the link in the chat. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Evelyn. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining. If you have not filled the feedback form, please fill it, and we'll still send you an email to fill the feedback form and the link to the consultation, to book a consultation with us. Thank you for taking out your time. We are very grateful. I'm just going to go through the list of people still here to personally call their name. Thank you, Cynthia. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Destiny. Thank you, Khalid. Thank you, Monique. Thank you, Onyi Obazi. Thank you, Samuel, and thank you, Sarah. Have a lovely rest of the day.